Welcome to Success Mentorship Class 274. Thank you for joining us on Instagram, on Facebook, on live Zoom. Here we go. And our topic for today is, what are your gifts? What are your gifts? That's a powerful thought, folks, because so often we don't think we have any gifts. We may be so wrapped up in our present expression of life that we don't think we have the gifts that are important, that we were given by God. As you know, our topics are based on our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, available on our website, herbertharris.com. And also for this particular class, I recommend our Success Toolbox, because the process of finding your gifts requires the proper tools to help you be able to go through the process of discovering who you really are. Before we do our class today, let us do our meditation. Close your outer eyes. Open your inner eyes and take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, we are rested, we are peaceful, we're comfortable. I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Just let that peace sink in. I am at peace with myself. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, our minds are open, receptive, and ready to learn. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. This program this day, Karen, thanks for joining us. Dennis, thanks for joining us. Dr. Rogers, beautiful, thanks for joining us. I love to open with a quote. And Leo Buscaglia said, "Your talent is God's gift to you. What you do with your talent is your gift to God." Your talent is God's gift to you. What you do with your talent is your gift to God. So, this topic really has been resting on my mind for quite some time, because it's so important that we see our gifts. Everyone has a gift. Everyone was given a gift that in the creation, all right? In the creation process, everyone is given a gift. When God created us, there was, you might say, talents and gifts that were a part of us. God does not create junk. Nothing is created for no reason. There's a reason and purpose for every creation in the universe. And so if you're alive, if you're breathing today, you are literally an expression of God. if God is the ocean, we may be just a drop. And so this idea of our gifts is that we have, in the essence of our creation, certain skills, certain talents, certain abilities that we can use not just for ourselves, but for the world. I often ask people, what is your gift? And many people have said, well, I don't have a gift. It is very easy to get so wrapped up in your condition and your circumstances that you can't see your gift. You can be so focused on your circumstances that you completely ignore your potential. Welcome, Lundy, my classmate. Thank you so much for joining us. And so this idea of what are your gifts is really saying that simply because you are alive, you have certain qualities, certain gifts, certain potential that is available to you for yourself and for the world. Many people don't think they have a gift. And if you don't think you have it, you won't look for it. If you don't believe you have a quality, if you believe you have talents and skills, you will never look for them. And so they may be there, but if you don't look for them, if you don't seek them, you'll never find them. Sometimes we base whether we have a gift or not on what the world thinks about us. You know, many times we even base our ability, our gifts, on what people who don't even like us think about us. There's some people that define ourselves based on the definition of somebody who abuses us and hates us. And so this idea of what are your gifts is really predicated on some very fundamental truths. It's a mindset from which you can operate, and in this particular mindset, you'll be able to identify the gifts, the talents that God has given you for your benefit and for the benefit of the world. First, we must recognize that we were created for a good purpose. Everything that God creates is for good. Now, there's a yin-yang aspect of all good because everything, you know, we were just talking about the forest and some of the animals. And there's a balance. There's a yin-yang balance. We were watching a hawk snatch up a squirrel out the yard. And so we said, wow, if there were no hawks to snatch the squirrels, we could be overrun by squirrels. If there were no squirrels, the hawks could starve. And so there's a yin-yang aspect of everything, but the essence is everything is created for a good purpose. So that's our one basic assumption. Everything in life is created for a good purpose. Therefore, I am created for a good purpose. You are created for a good purpose. No matter what's going on around you, you're created for a good purpose. Number two, to believe that you are endowed with unique gifts and talents. When we were created, you might say the evidence of life is breath. In the Indian philosophy, breath is prana. Prana is energy. And so the fact that we have, when God created us, we have breath and time. So the fact that you're breathing means that you are created with certain valuable gifts and talents. And that is the purpose for your creation. The third basic assumption is this, that it is in your nature to seek out your purpose. How does a squirrel who's never seen the winter know to set aside acorns to feed himself in the winter? Because it's in that squirrel's nature. How do we know to seek out our purpose? It's in our nature. If seeking out our purpose is in our nature, then that really is the essence of life, that everything is all about seeking who we really are. And once we find who we really are, everything else is really interpreted in that context. So how do you do this? How do you find your gifts? How do you find the talents, the things that God put here for you to prepare you for your benefit and for the benefit of the world? You find it by questions. I'm a retired attorney. And if you notice, whenever you see a court case, the essence of the court case is that the lawyer asks questions. You determine what is true by the questions that you ask. And so in order to determine your gifts, you must ask certain questions. Question number 1. What do you love? What brings you joy? Sometimes our lives are so turned around and turned upside down that we don't think about what we love. All we want to do is survive. We're so busy fighting the alligators of life that we never think of draining the swamp. Make a list of the things you love. Make a list of the things that bring you joy. And, go back to the time when you were a child, when you were young, some of your youngest recollections. Because very often, based on the nature of our childhood, sometimes our dreams and our talents are obscured by a bad environment, by lack of love, by an abusive situation. So go back as far as you can. These are the things I love. Write them down. As you make that list of the things you love, feel it. Give it your attention. Don't just write empty words, but as you write, I love singing, and feel the singing. I love dancing. I love painting. The things you love. One of my classmates, Lundy Monroe, is on Instagram, and he's been president of a number of colleges, but I see one of his true loves is painting. I had no idea, but when I went to his home and I saw some of his artwork, I'm like, man, that's you. So make that list of the things that you really love doing. Number 2, make a list of the things you do not love. Oh, let me tell you something, folks. The list of the things you do not love is critical because it lets you know what you need to get rid of. We have a lot of things in our lives that we do not love, and we endure them for whatever purpose. We may be on a job that we hate. That's why I said I didn't want to put down a list of things you hate. But you may be on a job that you say, I really do not love this job. In fact, I hate this job. You may be in a relationship that does not bring you honor and joy. So make a list of all the things you do not love. And that lets you know some of the things you have to get rid of. We can be so cluttered with other stuff that it takes away from our time and energy to see what our gifts are. One thing for sure, gifts are never based on the things you do not love. Gifts are never based on the things you hate. Gifts are always based on the things you love, the things that bring you joy. The third question, ask, what is your passion? You see, passion is the power behind purpose. I'll say that again. Passion is the power behind purpose. Make a list of the things that you're passionate about. Things that you would do for free. You notice something very interesting. Many times when people retire, my dad used to say, porches kill people. I said, what do you mean, Pop, porches kill people? He said, a lot of people, when they retire, they just want to sit on the porch. And I've heard that. What do you want? I just want to retire and sit on the porch. Don't do nothing. That's what I want to do. Many people, when they retire, you notice they'll be volunteering and working in different positions. And the things that they volunteer and work in are generally the things that bring them joy. So don't wait until you retire to live your joy. Look at the things that bring you to passion, the things that you would do for free. Because that passion is the vibration, the very passion that you feel about the things that bring you joy, that bring you love, is the very vibration that will pull just those things into your space. Number 4. Ask family, friends, people you respect, what they like about you. Ask them what they love about you. You know, many times people see in ourselves what we don't yet see. We do a number of Success Talk interviews, and one of the things that keeps coming out time and time again is that very often at a very critical point in a person's life, someone says, I believe in you. Someone says, you can do it. A young man I was interviewing was saying that he'd taken a test 6 times and failed. And he'd made up in his mind he was not going to take that test again, that this was just the way it was supposed to be. But someone in the office saw something in him that he didn't see in himself and said, go one more time. You deserve it. You should get that. So ask people who care, who you care about, who love you. Ask them what they see in you that they admire. Ask them what they see in you that they respect. If you really have a good relationship with them and you start talking, you might ask them, what qualities do you have that they would like to have? And sometimes it will surprise you. You know, you may be thinking that everybody likes me because I'm real smart and funny. But a person says, I like you because you're patient. I like you because you listen to me. No matter how busy you are, you'll stop and listen to me. This is a very powerful piece, folks, because so often people see our potential before we do. And that's okay. Now, how do you apply this based on these questions? As you learn about your gifts, how do you apply them? Well, number 1, once you've answered the question of what you love, once you've answered the question of what is your passion, once you've interpreted and pulled in the things that other people see in you, you now need to apply it. I'm going to do an aside here because one of the things about our Success Toolbox, a part of the Success Toolbox, is the New You Home Study Course. And in that New You Home Study Course, there are 4 components, and it helps you do just what we're talking about. The first component is to assess. Audio's on assessing your situation. And so you can't find your gifts until you know who you are. Look at your talents. Ask what you love. Audio number 2 talks about how to make the changes necessary. So once you determine your passion, once you determine what you love, what do you have to do now? What changes do you have to make to bring those changes about in your life, to make them manifest? Audio number 3 talks about how to set new goals based on this assessment of what is your passion and what are your gifts. And then number 4 talks about how to make a plan to make it happen. So once you've answered these questions about what you love, what you do not love, what is your passion, and internalize what other people see good in you, then you can now start to, 1, find ways to build your life around your gifts. I have a good friend, often joins us on Instagram. Kenya Crooks is a master personal trainer. He didn't start out as a personal trainer. He started out as a football player. top football player in college, but on the way to the pros, and I think he was seeing himself going to the pros, but he got injured. But when you look at what brings you joy, he loved working out in the gym. He loved being into that physical environment. And so once that didn't work out, he made a shift. He began to teach other people how to condition themselves, how to put their bodies in order. Hey, Eva, thanks for joining us today. Images, thanks for joining us today. Okay, Meekins, Lavinia, thanks for joining us. Wow, we got a full house. All right, for me, thank you. And so what Kenya became that wasn't his portion to play football. His portion was to transform the lives of thousands of people through personal training. So Mary J. Blige, he's worked with her. And so this idea of your gifts, once you see your gift, seek out ways to organize your life around your gifts. Mary's was a nurse by profession, but she learned that her gift was really teaching people, leading people, organizing people so that they could do things that could change their lives. Be creative about how to use your gifts. You know, there's a very powerful question that you can ask yourself. Sometimes you say, well, I don't know how to implement my gift of patience. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Then there's a question, if I did know how, what would I do? Anytime you're confronted with something that you don't know how to do, flip the switch and ask yourself, well, if I did know, what would I do? That puts your mastermind to work to solve the situation. So be creative about how to use your gifts. See out of the box. Schedule a time to reflect and contemplate on each and every aspect of your gift. You know, it says go into the corner, go into your meditation. The more that you can test and reflect on your gifts, you connect up with infinite consciousness, and you master how to put your gifts into action. Eva joined us from New Falls, Massachusetts. She has a ladies group to empower women, to teach ladies how to see a bigger version of themselves beyond whatever someone else has told them. This comes about from taking the time to reflect. And then finally, in this application of using your gifts, that final stage is to keep going and growing. To realize that as you understand your gifts, as you use your gifts, it's a transformational experience. It's a growth experience. It's a continuous realization. And that as you know more, you grow more. As you grow more, you know more. So now that we've looked at the foundation for the gifts, how to apply the process of using your gifts, let's look at some of the gifts. I think it's important that we see some of the gifts that we have. We get very materialistic sometimes, and we think a lot about the gifts we have on money and material possessions. But let's look at 7 gifts. The gift of kindness. You know, we've heard our grandparents say many times that kindness can get you where money can't. The gift of kindness is a power tool that can get the cooperation of other people, that can get the support of other people. The gift of patience. A farmer who has no patience will starve. The gift of patience is so profound and so necessary that the patience can be a power tool. The great farmer understands that when he plants a seed of corn that he cannot feed his family in 2 weeks, but in 60 days to 90 days he can. Patience is so powerful. If you ask the question, what is more powerful, rock or water? On the surface you may say rock. rock is impenetrable. But when you go and see the Grand Canyon and you see the power of water over time. So God has infinite patience, and so to carve out the Grand Canyon, water coming down the Grand Canyon can literally carve it out and create this incredible experience. Another gift, the gift of presence. Woo! Let me tell you something. The gift of presence is so powerful because when you give another person your attention, when you give another person the presence of mind, the respect of being, they'll open up the gates of heaven for you. With our children, presence is so important. And see, presence is based on the state of consciousness of the other person. Many times you'll find parents who work hard to send their children to school and, work 2 jobs to put them in private school. And a 9-year-old child is not able to comprehend what that mother or dad is doing to give them a quality education. All they know is the presence was not there. Many times with children, love is spelled T-I-M-E. Presence is a great power. When you can give people attention, your attention, it acknowledges and validates their own worth. 4th gift, gratitude. Gratitude is such a powerful gift that gratitude primes the pump of abundance. Oprah Winfrey says, be grateful for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Gratitude is so profound because gratitude sets in motion the power of expectation. Gratitude primes the pump of abundance. This gift of gratitude makes you always grateful, which always opens the channels for more abundance to come to you. The 5th gift, the gift of drive. There are people that no matter what the task, they're going to finish that task. No matter how challenging, no matter how difficult it is, they're going to finish that task. Thank you so much for a badge, Kenya. We sure appreciate you. Thank you. And those of you who purchase badges on Instagram, we sure appreciate your support. It validates our efforts and lets us know you really appreciate it. Thank you. The power of drive is awesome. That's a great gift, your ability to get things done. The power of drive embodies the persistence, embodies that stick-to-itiveness. The power of drive says that nothing can resist the power of a made-up mind. You just keep punching. You just keep going. You just keep pushing. The 6th gift is the power of forgiveness. Someone once says, I forgive people for what they've done to me. Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness, lack of forgiveness is like having an anchor on the boat that is your life. And as long as you refuse or fail to forgive, that anchor will hold your boat in place. And so no matter what you do, you're still stuck. That anchor holding you in place. Forgiveness is an awesome power, an awesome gift. It gives you the ability to control your anxiety, to take people off the screen of objection and an obstacle. Forgive them and let them go. And then finally, the 7th gift is the greatest gift of all. The gift of love. When the master teacher was asked of all the qualities, what is the greatest? Love is the greatest. Love is the gift that can penetrate all. Love can overcome hate. Love can overcome fear. Love is impenetrable. But so many of us don't know how to love. I see relationships with people who just don't know how to love. They don't know what to do. Their definition of love has been so traumatized, so stigmatized. Learning, of all the gifts, if you just learn how to love, the other gifts will fall in line. When you learn how to love, you can be kind. When you learn how to love, you can be patient. When you learn how to love, it's easy to give somebody your attention. When you learn how to love, gratitude is a natural consequence. When you learn how to love, you drive and you work out of love and the desire to get things done. When you learn how to love, forgiveness is a foregone conclusion. And so today, in summary, what are your gifts? To realize, number one, we are created for a purpose. And the simple fact that we are alive means we already have the gifts that God has given us. Two, that we are endowed with unique talents and skills and abilities that are unique to us. That we have a vision, and for every vision there's a provision. The God mind, if you can see it, the God mind gives you the provision to realize it. Number three, it is your nature to seek and live your purpose. If you let circumstances so pull you off track, it's keeping you from achieving your good, your God, your purpose. How do you find your gifts? You ask questions. What do you love? What do you not love? What is your passion? Ask other people, what good do they see in you? What do they like in you? What qualities would they like to have that you possess? Apply this process of putting your gifts into action. Find ways to organize your life around your gifts. Be creative. Set aside time to focus and dwell on your gifts so that they can come into your being. Realize that you continue to grow and go. That the obstacles you face are often the challenge necessary to bring out that gift in you. So many times we're faced with obstacles and we say, man, only God got me through this. The gift that God gave you got you through it. And then finally, the 7 gifts. And there are other gifts, but 7 gifts. Kindness, patience, presence, gratitude, drive, forgiveness, and love. When we can see the gifts that God has given us, when we can use the gifts that God has given us, then we can be anything we want to be. We can do anything we want to do. We can have anything we desire. When we share our gifts, not just with ourselves, but with the world, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Just take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Thank you so much for being with us today. Take this message today and be sure to get a copy of our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, and get the Success Toolbox. This toolbox can help you identify your gifts and put them to work in transforming your life from what it is to what you desire it to be. Always knowing that the best is yet to come. So it is.